So this is a video dedicated for the scapegoats. And it's going to be a little bit of a more radical approach to what we usually say to scapegoats, but I'm not one to say to shy away from radical stuff. So today what I'm going to teach you, little scapegoats of mine, is how to be a disappointment to your narcissistic parents and the family system. And if you're like, I'm already the disappointment, more. I'm going to teach you today how to disappoint these people more, monumentally more, totally more, the most. So before we do that, let's explain a little bit the dynamic of the scapegoat versus the golden child, and then we'll get right into it. Before we go into what I want to teach you, I want to explain the dynamics that we're in when we're in family systems. The dynamics that a lot of you may have heard about, and what we usually sort of just address and mostly talk about is the golden child versus the scapegoat of the family, right? So we're going to be talking about them, and then I'm going to teach you how to be your family's disappointment. So we all know about being a scapegoat in our family systems, right? But for those of us who want a kind of reminder of what that looks like, being the scapegoat, the black sheep of our families, means that we were the person that the family system acted as if we don't belong in that family. It's almost like the entire family was doing great, but we were the problem of that family. So what happens to the black sheep is that it seems to be carrying all of the symptoms of dysfunction onto themselves, right? It doesn't mean that black sheep are the most perfect and the most intelligent children that exist. I don't want to take away from any other of the children that took different roles. We all take different roles. Some of us happen to be the golden child, others the scapegoat, others interchangeably, depending on whatever was happening. But the thing is that in all families, to create some sort of equilibrium, all toxic family systems, you need a scapegoat and you need a golden child, and you have the parent on top. And then you have the other parent that enables that parent to continue to do all of that mess, right? The rest of the siblings may fall into vague categories, but you usually have one child that is the golden child, which is the example of how everybody should be, usually very smart, very successful, but deep down it's just very performative role that they're in to be perfect. Golden children are forced into performing perfection since the day they were born. Like they may have a skill or are intelligent, and that becomes their curse because that's the only way they will continue to be loved. So they grow then to believe they always have to do that. And that's another topic. Maybe I should do a video on golden children. I kind of gather that most of you here are scapegoats, but if we have more golden children here, I'll do something on that too. But anywho, then you have the scapegoat, who is the problematic child, which just generally seems to be reactive, has issues with their personality, anger issues, whatever. But in reality, what they're doing is that they're rebelling against dysfunction. They are the symptom, right? So all of these roles, we don't really consciously choose them, they are placed on us based on our behaviors and how well we adapt or obey dysfunction. If you had allergy to dysfunction or to being told what to do or to following suit like I did, you are a scapegoat. If you were more like, oh, I get it, if I'm like this, like this, like this, I'm going to be loved, and you performed, you leaned towards the golden child. Again, there's no moral superiority in either of the two. Both did what they could in order to survive. What happens is, an unfortunate thing that happens is that these children, although they're both just trying to survive, usually do not get along because of how they're treated by the parent, right? So you have the scapegoat looking at the other child be treated like royal, and they're treated like trash. And they don't really take it upon the parent, but they're becoming either jealous or start to feel betrayed by their sibling, right? And then you have the other child going like, why are you acting this way? You're ruining the family. Why don't you just act normal? Kind of thing, right? Anyway, the dynamic is unfortunately very infected, and these siblings usually do not get along. But hopefully, as they grow old, if they get to talk and if they go to therapy and they do some healing work, they will see that they were both just trying to survive. They just have different adaptations. Now, in this video, I'm not going to talk just about this dynamic. What I really want to talk about is this. If you were the scapegoat, right? You didn't really choose the role. And it feels like this is something that is forced upon us, and then we are scapegoated and feel we don't belong, blah, blah. But in this video, actually, what I want to teach you and I want to talk about is how to actually become your family's disappointment, like officially, right? So basically, you were scapegoated as the problematic child. Childhood is over. Now, you may be looking at your life through this lens that I'm about to explain. That something happened. You have all this potential. You had all this potential. But it looks like your life is not going far. It looks like all of what you were trying to escape from, you're still trapped in, even if you're not included in that family, even if that family doesn't include you. So that is the one theme that I want you to put aside for today and think about as the existing sort of symptomatology and the phenomenology of your actual current life. And I want you to think how it relates to your past. But what I want to focus today is the behaviors that you will be adopting officially, not reactively, to continue to be or be more of a disappointment to your narcissistic parent. And as I progress, you'll understand why that will be important. Right, the things you need to do to become your family's biggest disappointment or your narcissistic parents is having your own opinion about things. Saying no. Moving away from your family, like living somewhere else, different country, different city. Refuse to participate in family drama. Set boundaries. And not just like, I have to set boundaries. You just say the thing and you honor the thing. You don't answer your phone immediately. You have different political views than they do. And you stand by them. You don't change because of them, and you don't try to convince them to change theirs. You're dating someone they don't approve of. You're choosing a different career path than the one that they forced you on or told you should do. You're going to therapy. You're talking about what happened. You're living in the past. You're keeping your private life private from them. You stop trying to rescue them, give them money, fix them, save them, be always there available to them and their dysfunction. You prioritize your partner, your friends, your life, your needs over your parents. You become successful in the way that it feels successful to you, not something they would validate. You follow your joy. Basically, you become a sovereign, free, life-enjoying person. And that will disappoint them immensely. Because, let me tell you something. If you are the scapegoat, the spell that was cast on you, I don't mean literal spell, but the core belief that was installed in you is that no matter what you do, you will never get belonging because you don't deserve to belong here. And you will never truly and fully access what everybody else in this world has. Do they have love, security, friends? They have things, normal things that everybody needs. You, as a scapegoat, were taught that you don't deserve it. It's like you were living the life of Cinderella, right? Some sort of like little girl in a rich household. Everybody's beautifully dressed and eating the best things, and you're dressed in the worst thing that exists with holes, and you eat the breadcrumbs. That's what you were taught. So you will go through life feeling that this is how life will be for you. So your success as a scapegoat in terms of how you were, what was cast on you, is to fail monumentally in your life. is to always feel like an outsider, is to feel like you don't belong, is to be living amongst abundance and love that others access, but is not accessible to you. You're just good for breadcrumbs and grief. So to become your family's true disappointment is to drop the role that was cast on you. You're not exiled from anything. You belong to yourself. And what you do is you work with yourself, you learn how to love yourself, you realize that you were worthy all along and that you belong. And you go out there and live your life. You live your life so fully, like a happy person, as if these people never happened to you. That's how you fundamentally and fully disappoint your family system. Because if you've been crashing and burning, keep going back to them, trying to get them to understand you, continue to feel emotionally crippled, don't pick up with your life, still need them, go back to them, blah, 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 all these things, and you're living up to the role that you were indeed problematic. And you weren't. But if you were the scapegoat, they dumped on you so much dysfunction that you've assumed to be who you are. And now what you need to do is heal. And don't be fooled. There's a lot of rhetoric that the scapegoat's role is to heal the family system. Do not get me started. I studied family constellations. I trained on it. And this was one of the things that bothered me the most. I would never take something for what is, right? Everything I've been educated on has always been something I learn it. And then I'm like, I don't like this. And then I just take what I want from whatever modality I've tried. But it is a romantic thing to think that, oh, you're going to say your prayer. No. The scapegoat's role was to be the tortured, lost sheep throughout your life. The kind of child that then, she had so much potential, but, she never really got herself together. When the reality is, if they were saying the truth, is she got very traumatized. And that interfered with how well she could do the life that she wanted to create. But that was before we had the idea of inner child work and reparenting and how we can work with ourselves, right? That was before we were just labeled as one thing and that's it, limited within our limitations. But now we pick them up as symptoms and we address them and we reparent ourselves, and it all comes back to reparenting ourselves with kindness, empathy, and teaching ourselves that we are worthy. And when we do that, we resign from being the scapegoat. We don't wear it proudly anymore. Oh, I used to be in a family that exiled me. No. We can take the rebellious part and adapt it and create a different life path, but that's no longer your identity, because if that's your identity, you're going to live true to that role, which is to never let your life become what it could have become. And it's a shame. It's a shame to not enjoy belonging in a world that you were literally put into. You belong in this world. I don't care who brought you here or what they told you. I don't care. If you're here, you belong here. That's how it works. Unfortunately, even if they try to make you think that they get to decide whether you belong in the world because they didn't make you feel like you belonged in the family system, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what they did. What matters is what you do now, right? If you want help with this, I have a program, Heal, is going to take you through all the steps, help you reparent yourself, help you learn how to be kind to yourself, help you see those monumental moments of your childhood that have shaped you, release all of that, heal it, go back to your worth, and go out there and live your life. You're going to find it in the caption. I'll see you soon.